15th, I believe. The chairman of the Board of Selectmen signed it, as well as PLC, and signed the easement. This has been signed by Peter, as well as Chris Wells, our executive director, and everything was recorded. The loan was paid off, our first ever loan that PLC ever got. We paid that off, thank goodness. So it was really awesome, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. We've got trail work going on out there, and Gene got us hooked up with a Boy Scout who's going to, for his Eagle project, he'll be working on a kiosk and cleaning up the trailhead parking area on Shanty Road. We hope to have a, when everything's all set up, we'd like to have, proper celebration with everybody that was involved, but I'll let you all know that. And that's all I have. And let me give this to Gene, if I may.
Well, we thank you, Tom, for all the work that PLC has done towards this and all the other people that have helped.
It's
Thank
an
you.
awesome project. I love it. And personally, I spent a lot of time out there just for my own self, and sort of adopted it as well as officially.
Evelyn?
Yes,
I
Evelyn.
have a couple questions. So, I know that piece is 101 acres, and then the piece to the, there's several pieces involved. How
Yes,
much?
the entire eastern boundary of this preserve abuts the Blackbriar Woods Preserve, which is 126 acres. So it's 227 right there. It protects over a half a mile of Black Brook. And then abutting to the north of that is Preston Preserve, which is 20 acres. And then to the north of that is a town property, the Waldvogel tract. And then one tract over to the west, right on the Dunbarton line, we just closed on a donated easement by Tim and Gary Fink. And
How big is that?
that is, I'm sorry, 60 acres. And then there's 100+ acres that Real Martel, in his will, he left it to the Forest Society. And that's to the east of Waldvogel, so that abuts that property. And I've been contacted by another landowner who's got about 65 acres on Black Brook Purgatory as well. And there's quite a bit of protection going on up there. But the Blackbriar Woods Black Brook Preserve complex, that's pretty neat. 220 some acres just all together, and the wetlands are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
So you said it was held in Goffstown? Or is it the
PLC owns it.
Okay, PLC.
And part of the arrangement to help fund the whole project was that the town of Goffstown purchased a conservation easement on it, and that was where we got the financial participation from the town. And that was pretty well, because the town committed $154,000, and it turned out to be just a little over $97,000. So we're pretty happy. We raised a lot of money for that project. It was $265,000, I think, was the total project cost.
Well, thank you very, very much, PLC. And
Absolutely,
Tom,
and thank you all very much.
Great.
Awesome. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks again, Tom.
Patty will put this on file, and thanks.
Great. Good night, y'all. Thank you,
good.
Ken.
Yep, good night. Okay, next on the agenda is Miller's Landing, and this presentation from Representative Miller's Landing in regards to map 35, lot 35, 31A, 35-1, subdivision site plan for proposed 18-unit age restricted condominium development, Miller's Landing condominiums, owned by Elmer Pease Family LLC, and application Shaboon Construction Corporation. Property is located on Elm Street, Zone Residential 1. And I think we have somebody here. Thank you.
Good evening.
Could you just state your name?
My name is Doug McGuire. I'm with the Dubay Group, engineer on the plans. I brought 11 by 17 copies if anybody wanted like something up close. I see you have some large sets. Is that good enough, or?
These are the large ones you submitted the other day, so they have
Yeah.
the full, what planning's gonna see is what they're saying.
That's the same thing I have. I just didn't know if anybody needed something more in front of them. Looks like you guys can share pretty well, though.
We have smaller ones also. Yeah.
Okay. I'm here tonight also with Elmer Pease, the landowner and the applicant. Kelly works with Gary Chicoine's construction. So I'd just like to give a quick overview of where this project started and where we are now with it. This was originally permitted back in 2006, 7 range. I think we started in 2006. I think it was finally permitted in 2007. It was originally done under a different engineering firm, Woodland Design Group. I was actually an engineer there, and so took it the natural progression when they brought this project back. But originally, it was approved. Construction was started. It was sold. They started construction out there on the project, and through issues with the economy, construction stopped. The person that owned it ended up losing it due to financial issues. Construction wasn't going anywhere, and unfortunately, it's kind of sat in that state for quite some time. Basically, they roughed in the entire roadway to subgrade, put in some of the catch basins that were going to be on the roadway. They put in one foundation, the starts of it, and then just kind of left it. So unfortunately, it's lacking stabilization. It's kind of raw right now. What ended up happening is Mr. Pease ended up purchasing the property in its current state and brought in Chicoine Construction to kind of bring this back forward. Mr. Pease had taken this project under the old application back to the planning board to determine that it was vested, and it was determined that it was vested with the planning board, meaning that enough work had been done on site that the current approval was still valid as far as the town was concerned. When we brought the Chicoine's Construction into the project, they had some minor requests that they wanted. Basically, they wanted to do a slightly different footprint of the building. They didn't want to change the path of the roadway, the location of the entrance onto Elm Street, or really anything to do with the actual infrastructure of the project. They really just wanted to do two things: modify the actual building footprint to be a little bit more economical to them and actually more practical for an age-restricted development, making sure that they had a first-floor master. Also bringing the garages to share a wall, because from a privacy standpoint, you really don't want to have a garage. The old application had the garages on the outside of the two units, so you were basically sharing a wall. Well, now you're sharing a garage wall, which is a lot more privacy, for the units. So, and we also moved those forward. They actually were pulled forward a little bit so that there's more green space in the backyards of the units. And so those are really the only changes associated with this plan to the last. You can actually see the change like as an outline on, let's see, sheet 4. Kind of does a nice little comparison of the pre versus post. It doesn't have all the detail, but it shows basically the impervious area that was associated with the original. So the original design is up above. You can see that the units are stepped back a little bit, and the driveways are separated. And then here we pulled the units a little bit closer to the road, and we brought the driveways in together. Because of the slight differences in unit size, we're basically at a wash as far as square footage of impervious area. We didn't increase it, we didn't reduce it per se. We're almost exactly the same between the two applications. The good news is, with this new application, we had to update some state permits. So we have to update our alteration of terrain permit, and we have to update, or actually apply originally for our shoreland permit. Back when this was originally approved, shoreland didn't even exist. It kind of fell under the envelope of site-specific, which is now alteration of terrain. So In doing that, we did update some of the drainage, and I'd like to just give a quick little update to that, because I think that would be something that the Conservation Commission would be interested in. If we could go to sheet 6, that's the grading and drainage plan. So on sheet 6, basically what we have is the original application had a series of catch basins which collected the stormwater produced by hitting the roadway, the proposed roadway coming in. That was collected by a series of catch basins and routed to a infiltration pond that was in the middle of the cul-de-sac. What it then did is it went to a little treatment swale outside and outletted to towards Glen Lake. Well, with this new application, we've made some improvements to that because the alteration of terrain regulations are more stringent than they were back in 2006. So we're actually doing some enhanced treatment of the stormwater based on, from the original application. So what we have is we still have an infiltration pond in the middle of the cul-de-sac, but that's now more of a pre-treatment basin. That's going to be essentially your sediment forebay, where you would have any type of sediments or floatables would settle out there in that area first. And then the invert is at least 2 feet. The invert out is 2 feet above the bottom of that pond. So we're promoting infiltration, we're promoting pre-treatment of that initial inflow of water, and then instead of it going just to a swale, it's now going to a second infiltration basin, which fully infiltrates the entire 2-year storm. So we have zero runoff coming off of this site during the 2-year storm now, which was not the case originally, the 2-year. Larger storm events, we still do have runoff, but the way the alteration of terrain regulations view it, and it's, this has been proven in testing, is that essentially your first flush it has all your contaminated water. If you have a rare large storm event, a 50-year storm, you're not dealing with the same level of contamination because essentially that first flush goes through, that water is treated, and the additional water that's running off is basically running on clean pavement at that point. So that water is essentially much more clean than the original first flush, and that's the part that's overflowing and continuing on. Now, the good news is that we have completely matched the pre and post conditions on site from a volume and a runoff standpoint. And the volume, I don't believe we meet that for some of the largest storms, but we do meet the runoff rates. So we have no increase in runoff during the 2, the 10, the 25, or the 50-year storm. And so I think that, obviously, Chicoine Construction didn't, they were hoping that this, we wouldn't have to do a lot of changes to this plan because they were purchasing this under the assumption that, we were building the original application with just some minor tweaks. We did end up adding some pretty significant treatment increases and promotion of groundwater recharge as part of this. So I think that's a huge positive and really doesn't affect the overall character of the development from Chicoine's perspective because there was going to be a treatment swale there, which we now know that treatment swales don't exactly do as well as we thought they used to back 10 years ago. So
Can you, I hate to be stupid, but what does it look like, the pre-treatment infiltrate? It sounds to me like it's kind of a pit loaded with gravel.
It's not. It actually is going to basically be kind of like a grassed bowl, for lack of a better. I mean, it's like a little pond, a dry pond. It's intended to infiltrate. AOT requires us to test the soils to make sure that we're A, above the water table, so we're not going to be having standing water in there, and B, also have enough separation to get treatment credit for the water infiltrating through the soil, with biological uptake of the soil and all those other fun things that happen, chemical conversion inside the soil, to be able to reduce those pollutants. So it's not going to look like anything special per se, but we have great soils out here on this site, nice sandy soils.
Very good drainage.
Good drainage, exactly. And so we're really taking advantage of that to the max because, like I said, we don't now have just one infiltration pond, we now have two back-to-back. So you're kind of like doing a double treatment type system. So,
So it's no tall grasses or nothing attractive, just grass that's gonna be mowed.
well, yeah, that's the intention. I mean, I think you're not going to have a lot of visibility of especially the second pond. There is a small retaining wall there, which there was before. There was a retaining wall before in the previous application to outlet to the treatment swale. So we kind of have the same thing. You're not going to really see that. So I think it would be best to let that naturalize. Letting it naturalize likely will increase our treatment potential, just because, having more vegetation is going to just absorb that much more.
So you're saying you're gonna construct it and not mow it all the time, it's just going to turn into...
Right. Well, it would obviously have to be maintained, and we do have an operation and maintenance plan within our drainage report, which is going to be part of this approval. And the association will be responsible for maintaining these. I mean, because obviously there's going to be accumulated sediment over the years that's going to have to be contained. What we're going to do, and actually that was one of Megan's comments that she just had reviewing this new application, is she said, how are we going to be able to maintain that first pond? What I'm going to propose, and this is what the other one did, I guess I kind of missed this before, is we're going to have a break on the back side of that guardrail, basically because, the guardrail is protecting a car that's coming down the hill and also coming around the cul-de-sac, but on the back end, we could probably leave that area open so that way they'd have direct access to be able to get a machine right down in there if they need be. This isn't like a one-to-one slope or anything, so it's certainly able to have a track machine get right in there if need be. So we're not going to be restricted to just hand tools or anything like that. They're going to be able to get in there. And that main basin is going to be the real one that's going to just, if that first basin is maintained well, as it's going to need to be, and it will be because we have an association. It's kind of nice when, it's not the responsibility of the town to be able to make sure they get to that and have the budget to be able to handle that and everything. This is a private road, it's a private association, and the association is going to be responsible for the maintenance of that pond. And, it would, 2 feet is a lot of sediment in that area to accumulate. So if they're even semi-regularly maintaining this pond, we're going to have good treatment. And for the vast majority of storms, my guess is that we don't even see water go into the second pond. The larger storm events, the rare storm events, I'm sure it will, but I don't know how familiar this commission is with the new alteration of terrain regulations, but we're now required to use the extreme precipitation rates when we model these storms. So a storm event that, this original plan, like say a 25-year storm was say 5.1 inches of rain. Well, now we're designing to like 5.8 and a half or something like that. And so it's, I guess what I'm getting at is that when we're designing to these larger storm events and utilizing the extreme precipitation rates, we're being pretty conservative now. And it's because, obviously there's been a few isolated storm events in the past decade
That
that
5.8
inches
per hour?
in a 24-hour
In
period.
24 hours,
Yeah.
okay.
Which is a lot of water. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a good
I know
amount.
that, I just didn't know.
Yep, it's a 24-hour
Yeah,
period.
okay.
So if when you're doing the over excavation of this floor bottom within that pretreatment infiltration basin and you find that you hit groundwater, what are you going to do?
Well, we know we aren't because we already did test pits in both of the ponds. So
Recently were they done, or was
yeah,
that from the previous?
no, we did them in July.
In July this year?
Yeah. Well, remember, let me clarify. Let me
We're in a
clarify
drought.
that. Let me clarify that. As a soil evaluator, we have to be able to know where the seasonal high water table is at any time of the year, including times of dry. And what we're looking for is we're looking for indicators in the soil that show where that seasonal high water table is. Very rarely would we ever, like, I'm a septic designer, and so I can, review soils for those purposes and for drainage purposes. And very rarely do I ever mark a water table at where I actually see water seeping into the hole. It's always much higher because at certain times of the year, it's going to be fluctuating, and you just look for those indicators. So that's what we did here. To be honest with you, this is like sand. I mean,
I'm not going to find a water table there.
yeah, it's going to be, it would be
Very
hard.
deep,
We
yeah.
we went down like 7 feet, and there was no indication of water table whatsoever. So,
7 feet from existing conditions out there?
yes, I think
Or
so.
you're saying you went down to 280 or less?
Oh, no, from, what we, I don't know exactly what we did, to be honest with you. Well, I know that we did it on the existing soil that was there, but I calculated that we needed to have a certain separation. We need to have 3 feet of separation to the water table. And so we went down deep enough to prove that we had that separation. So when we amend that soil, we know that we have that separation to do that. And we're only amending the soil, unfortunately. This is something that kind of frankly upsets me, but that's the way it is with alteration of terrain. These soils are, in their eyes, are too good to infiltrate into because they're too well drained. And so we're going to amend the soil to actually make it infiltrate slower, which, okay, I mean, I understand where they're coming up from, but I'd rather allow it to go faster, and eventually over time, I'm sure it would slow down some. We have a factor of safety. We're going to design it to an infiltration rate of 10 inches per hour, and everything has been designed to 5 inches per hour, so 50% reduction. So I think we're pretty conservative on that. Any other questions?
Are these parking spots that are along the cul-de-sac?
Yes, visitor parking. That's what, they had that amount in the original application, so we just kept that the same.
We have like 6 of those.
Yep.
And where is snow storage?
Excuse me?
Snow storage?
Snow storage? Well, what we always say is there's obviously areas along the sides that you can kind of plow outwardly to, but the association, if we get a real rough winter, they may have to offload some of their snow if they exceed their areas that they can place snow. I mean, sometimes, they, in bad areas or bad, sometimes they use like one of the parking spaces to pile it up, and you end up losing a visitor space. I know I used to live in a condo association. They did that all the time.
I
But-
guess that my concern there is like any of that runoff could go right down the slope directly into the lake at that point.
Well, they don't have much place to be able to put that because we do have some guardrail all the way through there, so they're not going to be pushing. They're not going to be pushing too much that way. That's for sure.
You're gonna have a lot, yeah, because you said you have an inner guardrail, and then you're gonna have, is there a guardrail around the?
There is, yeah.
Those-
Yeah.
Small one on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're not going to just be pushing everything down the hill and off towards the lake. That's for sure. They can't. There's really no room to do that.
So that may, for a very large storm, they're gonna probably have to
Have it removed.
have it removed.
Yeah, and we have requirements right on our site plan that
We
will be
do.
approved that requires them to do that. So that this wouldn't be an issue that would come back to the town or anything like that.
Is this a planned community for elderly, or?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
This is age-restricted housing. Yep.
Okay, then I noticed on the original plan that there was a sidewalk.
Yep.
All right, I don't think there's a sidewalk going through here, no, is there?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we do.
Here on the
Right
side?
beside the road.
I understand why there's confusion, because before, and I don't know exactly why we did this, to be honest, back 10 years ago, but they put it like off the street. Well, now we're doing this conventionally, and actually to a higher caliber. What we're doing is we're doing vertical granite with a paved sidewalk directly adjacent to the roadway, as you would typically see a sidewalk. I think what we were trying to do under the previous application is cheap out a little bit, for lack of a better word, is because we were doing bituminous curbing, and you can't have a sidewalk directly adjacent to a bituminous curb. So that's why that's why the sidewalk was offset.
So the sidewalk is,
Right along the road,
If you look on page, you're at sheet 5?
on sheet 5, it's right along.
Sheet 5, it's on the left-hand side, if you're looking up.
Right along the edge of the
The
road.
area,
It's right in here. The first one was kind of off, so it kind of stood out as a walkway, where this one
Okay.
is kind of connected to the road.
so I think my other comment then, if it's for elderly, I would think that that would also be salt and sanded.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean,
guess
the
I'm just
associ-
looking at extra stuff that we have to be concerned about, possibly going into.
High chlorides.
Right.
Well, the good thing is that all of our treatable area is collected in this closed drainage system, and it is routed to that first infiltration pond and then a second infiltration pond. So we're doing pretty good, I think. And, you know, it's rare that I get this two-tiered treatment practice. It just seemed to work out well in this particular area to meet our full credits of treatment.
And those must be small walkways in front of the porches?
Yes. Yep. And we have a good amount of off-street parking in this application. I mean, we did pull the units closer to the roadway, just to give better backyards and more green space. But, I mean, we still have a garage space, and for the most part, like, at least 2 vehicles could be queued behind each unit. So we're in pretty good shape on that, well exceeding the requirements of the town. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Elmer just mentioned that, just for clarification, all the catch basins do have sumps. So, I mean, obviously, we're gonna get our initial collection there, which we'll be maintaining. So they're gonna be maintaining the sumps of the basins, you know, which is gonna collect a lot of your sediment, you know, that gets washed into the system. And then our sediment forebay would be kind of like the second layer of defense, and then we have our second infiltration.
So it shows a trail, a walking trail on the outside, is that a stone wall or what? And then it goes down in front of the waterfront, is that right?
What sheet are you on?
All of them, they say there's a trail shown.
That's just an existing trail.
that's on the other property.
We're not proposing
The
it.
other property, I
Yeah.
believe, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was just picked up on our survey, so we just show that, but we're not proposing
So
anything.
that's not,
This isn't part of this property?
There is the trail that's along the waterfront is on our property, but we're not proposing that. That is already there.
Like, it's going to remain? The
Yeah.
trail will remain
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah.
Is it paved or what is it?
Oh, no, it's just a dirt path.
public?
I don't believe, I don't know, honestly. I think, I'm sure it's probably not technically public, but people are
Neighbors.
using it, and there's a reason that it's been an established path, you know,
I
so
was just gonna
somebody's
say.
utilizing it, and I'm sure, we don't have any intention of modifying anything within that 50-foot area, so.
Any other questions? Amy, anything else?
Good look at plans. Plans, they covered most of the bases.
You know what the amount of rainfall was during the Mother's Day floods?
That's a good question. I believe it was actually close to, it was like 5 or 6 inches of rain, I think. So I think that it puts you right around
The
that,
idea of,
the storm event,
Yeah.
like a 25 to 50 year, somewhere in between those two, I think.
And this is kind of set up higher
Yeah, this is
As far as,
above the
above the
lake.
water.
oh yeah, oh
I
yeah.
don't think
We're-
this area was an area that.
Well, just so you know, what we did is,
trying to get an idea of the volume.
Yeah.
the flood, the 100-year flood line is shown on our plan as that thick
Yeah,
gray
it's right
line.
Yeah.
And what we did is we made sure all the basements of, not just the first floor elevations, but the actual basement elevations were above that floodplain line.
And then this is the buffer,
The buffer.
and they're out of the buffer.
Yeah.
I noticed that was the first thing.
So your floodplain line is 697, is that right? Somewhere in there? Oh, no, I'm sorry, no, that's wrong, that's the wrong number. I'm reading a different
The
number.
floodplain line, it's pretty close, it calls out, it's at elevation
Okay, yeah,
275.5.
there it is, yeah, I got the wrong, I had the distance lines, what it was. 275.5, yeah.
Yep,
And you're at 280 in your, bottom of your basin, so you're 15 feet above it.
right.
You got a lot, hell of a lot of elevation there, 'cause they're way up above it.
Yeah, that's,
Probably why you couldn't find your water table, it's just, it's not there, it doesn't exist.
right. Yeah, we were thinking that when we were doing the test pits, that we may encounter a water table, of like some water seep maybe from, like, because I mean, we actually dug down lower than the elevation of the floodplain, and we still weren't seeing any
Right,
modeling. I
right.
think it's just well drained enough that you're not going to get,
Sand and gravel there, right?
Yeah, that's right, tremendous.
yeah, like
tremendous gravel
loose sand.
Across the
Like-
street,
there. Yeah, it's really
like,
nice. Yeah, right.
like a sandbox.
across the street, yeah.
I would think that's why it would be hard to see any indicators though, like hybrid soils or anything, because it's sand. So
Yeah.
I've seen basins like this where I've actually worked on them where you wouldn't think you're gonna hit water and then you do. Now, right now, it's really, we're in a drought. I mean, so I would think it's hard to determine if you're going to or not. So it was just a question what your plan B was, because I know it said I had to have a certified scientist and has to be approved. So I'm
Yep.
just wondering if you did hit groundwater during construction, what's your timeframe for the project?
Well, at this point, we still have to go through AG approval, so we're probably looking at starting construction in the spring of next year.
2017?
Yeah. Well, right.
Any other questions, concerns? Any comments?
So I'm going to ask you to make a recommendation to the planning board for their meeting. This is on their agenda tomorrow.
I think my biggest concern would be the snow removal, and make sure that there is definite language in there about maintaining this pond, yeah, your dry pond, but just the maintenance of all that. But certainly, I think the snow removal is going to be a big issue, and I think elderly, particularly, that these sidewalk will be sanded and all, so that would be my concern as maintenance of the inner circle there, the dry pond, and in large storms, that they really, I think, need to consider removing the snow off the site, or if they want to somehow, I don't know if you can really build in a site up here, not in front of people's houses, where they would then be able to pile stuff, but I don't really see any room for that.
Yes.
If I may,
Could you just state your name, please?
yeah, I'm Elmer Pease.
Okay, thanks.
I'm the owner. I'm the one that resurrected the property. I promised the planning board almost 4 years ago that I'd get the project finished when I purchased it. I've been dealing with elderly communities for almost 20 years now, and have been involved in the design and construction of these projects. And I think many of the points that you brought up are very apropos to the Attorney General's side of the approval. And what we can do, and it's always nice to be able to include it in notes on a plan, but what I like to do and have done in other elderly communities as an adjunct to the planning process, the Attorney General's approval is for the marketing and sales of the actual units. And what we can do in the condominium documents are we can make sure that there are specific requirements for the boards to be able to make sure that snow removal is properly taken care of and removed off-site in major storms. We can make sure that the basins are properly maintained, so that there's no question. Most condominium associations never look at plans. You know, they've got them rolled up and they have them in their storage units, but they're always referring to the condominium documents, because they meet every month, and they have annual meetings every year. So I'd be more than happy to do those items in the documents, because the revisions, the current documents are already on record, but we can do an amendment to be able to insert that language that you request in those documents.
It's important.
I think it's very important.
Be more than happy to do that.
That's a smarter way to go, because he says they'll review those quicker than they will the plans.
They won't look at these.
That's right.
Right. But that's really important.
So do
that
we
be
want to
maintained.
just,
So make your what's your recommendation to the planning board? And a motion?
That,
To include those notes in the body of the condominium documents that are approved by the Attorney General's office.
I think Megan's gonna require a maintenance, a drainage maintenance plan be in effect. I think she's gonna require you to have that.
We do it all the
And
time.
then probably put in your
Well, we do
notes.
that, but I can make sure that the board, because once
The board
it's
of the
once it's turned
condominium
over to the board, as long as the
association.
board knows and is aware of that
have it in
document,
here?
yes, then they'll know to be able to.
that's
right, they'll have to
one
do
of
it.
their, that's one of their responsibilities. It's actually for their own
Right.
safety, really,
Right.
but.
So have it in
I think
here,
it's
but
really
even though Megan's probably going to require something else.
Yeah, she'll require it,
Right.
and we'll provide it, but in the condominium documents, the board, the association, will
Right.
be able to look to those documents, to be able to refer to something to use.
I also think they're gonna require it to be on the plan. think
Well,
the
I can
plan-
tell you,
Yes.
I
Yep.
can,
That's why I
Well, you
do
can still
both.
put them in the plans. but
Yeah,
like say, the board's never
I
looked
would
at
do
the
it on
plans.
both.
Have it in both places?
I think he's absolutely right.
I think so.
well, if I may?
Yes.
I actually, Megan had a few comments that she issued to the planning board based on our new updated plans. One of them, she recognized that we did have an O&M manual within our drainage report, so she made note of that. She had one request, she wanted the cleaning of inlets and outlets of, from one section added to another section, so that was one comment. Another comment was that she wanted to send copies of the cleaning reports biannually to the Goffstown DPW. So that will be a note on the plans, it will be making reference to this O&M manual that Elmer will likely use as part of his condominium doc, so everything will be tied together. And having that requirement of those reports being sent to the town, that kind of covers the town to be able to say, okay, hey, we haven't seen a report in, this year, what's going on? So, just to kind of keep the association going.
Insurance policy will cover you.
Yes.
Kelly Lineberry, Gary Chicoine Construction. Doug, also to the left of Unit 18, could we maybe indicate snow storage there? A little bit of room for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was thinking of that.
It's 18.
So we can't include it, if you look next to Unit 18.
Okay,
There is an area there, and it is downhill too, so it'd be easier to.
All right, that's good.
well, I did notice that, except it looked like you had some gorgeous landscaping in that area, that was one of my questions, and not belonging to, or not ever having anything that's part of a condominium, and I'm thinking of elderly people. Are those going to be maintained? Are you gonna maybe build in an area there for storage?
We can build in an area for
Okay,
storage.
for storage right there, and then maybe you'll do a little landscaping still in the beginning in that, so you'll just build in one little
So if we have a winter like we
grass
did,
area.
if we have a winter like we did last year where there wasn't a lot of snow, then everybody's okay. But the year before, where we had 120 inches,
Right.
then that's when you need to look at
Right.
other alternatives.
Right,
A lot of these are perennials too, and yews and things like that sort of die down in the wintertime.
okay,
Snow cover's only gonna help them,
okay.
so we'll be mindful of it, but I think that there is room
So,
there.
okay, so does the association have a regular, you must, a maintenance plan that keeps up your gardening?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they have landscapers that.
Yeah,
take
they'll
care of
hire
that.
someone to do all that.
then tomorrow.
These unit owners aren't gonna be
Yeah.
mowing themselves or anything like that, so.
That's why they moved here.
Right.
Exactly.
So
okay,
your
let's get back to this.
So your recommendation is going to be to have, include in the condominium documents and note on the plan, snow storage along Unit 18 and removed in significant storms, and to have a drainage maintenance plan in place. Is that what you want to say?
Second.
And Evelyn made the
There you go.
motion,
Nice job. I like that.
Chuck seconded.
seconded it.
Are these
Yeah.
condos going to have drainage for the roofs, or how is that being handled, the runoff?
No, what we have is,
Discussion.
what's that?
No, that's
Why
fine,
not
I was just
supposed
gonna,
to ask
didn't, discussion on the motion. Go ahead.
What we have on that is, I ran a drainage analysis, and basically, we have areas of roof, the vast majority of roof is collected within the system. Obviously, the fronts of the roofs are just gonna head to the front. The backs of some of the roofs, at least on the bottom side, on the west side of the property, those are actually collected in a swale, and brought along through. But the drainage analysis basically works. So we do have some roof is being bypassed and not going to the system, but essentially that's clean water, and we're holding so much water back because of the amount of area that's being collected from this development, that we're matching our pre and post from a volume and runoff standpoint.
So actually, should we get back to her question after we finish
This is what I was
dealing with the motion that was made?
Should we vote
Or do
on
we have
this?
to vote on that? We're just, wait a minute, we just.
Are we adding to it?
The-
Amend it?
We can
wanted to do
amend
that.
it if she needs to.
Okay, you want to wait? then?
Well, I wanna
You want
wait.
More discussion, this is
Yeah,
discussion?
go ahead, and
Okay.
then we can amend it.
Okay. So then that's all the units here. Is this the west side right here? Yes. Or,
Yeah.
oh, yep, yep. Is that something you want Megan to look at?
The roof runoff?
Yeah, how much,
I mean, if he says he did it in the calculation, I mean, and the other two things that I would point out are my concerns would just be, obviously, you have your silt fence and everything shown for during construction, but I think during construction it'll be critical that everything's properly maintained and nothing gets blown out because of the runoff that could occur before everything's in place. And also, it's stated it was gonna add lime and fertilizer and seed for your blankets that you're gonna put down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, any nutrients, obviously, that can go right into the lake, and then also going forward, lawns. You know, I know everything, all the notes say must be applied by a proper, I saw something somewhere, certified, landscaper or whatever. But
Right.
it's only as good as implementation, right? So I think that's what you're talking about, adding it in with the, what are you calling that document?
Drainage maintenance.
Drainage plan.
Yeah, and unless all of you are fine with
no, I think
grass
that's a,
and nutrients.
no,
and-
that's a big concern.
So what am I adding?
That's all I have to say for the project.
She's talking about the lawns, the fertilizer, and the removal of the grass clip.
What do you suggest doing with that?
Not removal, it's just
No.
doing
That
when they're
really is a
planning
big
area.
concern. I think,
I don't
because-
buy any at my house, so.
I don't either, mine was.
So during construction, extra protective measures to make sure no runoff
Yeah, I think it
goes
should be
into the lake?
inspected too, as well. I think
Well,
we should definitely.
If I may, there's another, this might make the commission a little bit more comfortable. This project is big enough that it will require, it's disturbing more than an acre of land, and will require a stormwater pollution prevention plan, a SWIP, they call them. I'm sure some of the commission or all the commissioners are aware of those. I mean, that's an active construction plan, so they're out there, there's gonna be an inspector, every quarter inch of rain is gonna be, during construction, they're gonna be monitoring and reviewing all the erosion protection measures. And in this particular site, being so close to a water body like Glen Lake, I mean, I can assure you, and Kelly will back me up on this, that they don't want to have a flow of sediment into Glen Lake. If they do, they're in very, very serious trouble. So they're going to make sure that they're implementing the best management practices the best they can.
And you
But
keep
we
saying
like that.
they, but, in the past, actually, when we've had big projects like this, they actually have to record their inspections, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly.
That'll be in this SRUB plan.
In the SWIP, yeah.
That'll be in the
Those are
plan.
going to be,
That's, okay.
Yeah.
and that
is done by Megan or
No,
somebody?
that's done by the
State.
owners themselves, and it's inspected by the state, I
That's
believe.
right.
We'll look at it.
Okay.
It's an independent, it's an independent inspector that's doing the inspections, and they're keeping logs. Those logs are required to stay on site, on the actual construction site. And this is a federal permit, an EPA permit, that is, I mean, obviously the state can poke their head in whenever they want.
Pretty
but-
bulletproof.
And the reports have to be included in the SWOOP report on site.
Our engineer here says that it's not always bulletproof.
Well,
This is
no,
what
but
she does
I
too,
can tell you,
so
these guys will probably
you
get
gotta
it
watch
right.
that.
So,
do you
It
want
certainly
me,
isn't, but in this case, being up against a water body like this, they're gonna have to take some extra precautions.
Yes.
And I can tell you right now, anything that they do is better than what's there right now. I took some, I visited the site.
Oh, yeah.
There is a section of silt fence that is plowed over and the sediment has gone right past it. So, we're gonna definitely be doing a huge improvement here, so.
so am I saying it must follow the stormwater pollution plan and best management practices?
Yep.
Adding that?
Is that what you?
and, yeah, and Amy, the lawn, treatment of the lawns.
That would be the same, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the association's hiring, there'll be a company doing it, so it's going to be,
They should know that they're close to the lake and,
yeah, I mean, there was a note I read,
Well, it's at least gonna be regulated and you don't have, a homeowner just
14.
putting down 5
Right,
bags.
that's-
It
5
says it
bags of
shall
fertilizer.
be performed with judicious use of pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers, all of which should be applied by a licensed applicator.
So maybe that should go into this board,
Yes.
something that's being presented to the board,
But
that they have
in
to be
what-
very.
You
because
can,
it-
but they already have it on the plan. They're already
He's-
noting
but
it.
they're not gonna
His
look-
comment is, and I
Oh.
think it's right,
But he-
people
It
don't
should
look
be
at
in
plans.
the
Right.
operation manual.
right, because they're not gonna look at the plan to
board will
see
get a copy of
that.
that manual to refer to. at the
And to
meeting.
add it in the condo docs
Yes.
and note.
Because that actually is a huge concern.
Am I right, is that entire statement that you want? What's the
Which one is it?
What's the note?
Yes. 14.
And
On
number
page-
14, okay.
Sheet 5, site plan.
Sheet 5.
I think that would be good.
I think
Gets
that's good,
noted
in the
because
doc.
people are
Really is a
never gonna look at the plan again.
No, but I think they should be aware that they have to be really concerned about the fertilizer and
Most people
pesticide.
just don't know, it's an educational thing.
Right, they just don't, you're right, they
Yeah.
don't know. Yes.
And the last one, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
The roof on the west side, he's calculated that that's not going to be a big problem, that the rest of it is all being maintained by the site.
That's what you said.
Well, let me, since you brought that up, I did a little checking, just to get a little bit more specifics on that. During a 2-year design storm, we're actually reducing the volume from the site by over 50%. So what that means is the site as it is right now with no development on it, we're reducing it from that state by more than 50%. It just so happens to do that, and we're not required to do that, not by the regulations, but because we're using such a pro-infiltration type design here, we're collecting so much of the site and bringing it to these systems that it's infiltrating more water than was naturally being infiltrated in the previous conditions. So I have no concern whatsoever with the roofs because we're actually discharging, from a rate standpoint and a volume standpoint, significantly less water than in the pre-development conditions. So we're doing a lot better. So I really don't think the commission needs to worry about that section.
now, anything else? Barbara, anything? No? Chuck?
Okay.
What
I
do you mean,
guess
Evelyn?
Well, there was only other one question. Is this a candidate for a road, putting in a road that allows the water to be?
Like a pervious pavement?
Yeah.
Well, what I can tell you is, I got a lot of experience with pervious pavement. We've used it in the past. It is a maintenance issue, honestly. It doesn't hold up as well as regular pavement, and it requires extra maintenance because you have to make sure that it's still maintaining that porosity. that it originally is put down with. And it's actually hard to implement in construction, at least in my experience. I'm sure some people have had good luck with it. We've still used it in some applications. The way I look at pervious pavement is, if I can collect the water from an impervious surface and infiltrate it, I'm doing just as good as if I was putting in pervious pavement. It's when, you don't have an opportunity, maybe because of a separation to water table, that you could put in pervious pavement and that water could just go through the pavement and be done with it. That's an application where it might make sense. But where you have an opportunity that you can collect that water and still infiltrate it, you're basically doing the same thing. You're just basically bringing it all to one spot and infiltrating it in one spot, as opposed to letting it just pour through the pavement. So in this case, you could put pervious pavement almost anywhere, but I try to avoid it because I just don't think it's a real practical BMP, best management practice.
And we don't recommend it, and we don't use it in
I'm just-
elderly communities.
Yeah, I just curious what you were nodding or saying, and I was just curious your opinion too. So why don't you use it though, just?
Well, one of the biggest problems it works well in regions of the country where you don't have a lot of earth movement from the different,
Freezing.
Climates.
I guess, weather
Seasons.
conditions.
Right.
Seasons.
When you go from spring to summer to fall, and then into winter, and you get that massive ground movement, it just does not work. And especially in this part of the country where you have so many trees, it sheds a lot of dust and pollen and everything, and it clogs these
Oh.
pervious things up. And though it's nice, and I've done a lot of conservation stuff in my 30 years, we've never recommended these for retirement communities because they have a heck of a time with the costs of maintaining these things.
It's just hard to get right. In fact, I just went to a seminar. UNH kind of pioneers a lot of this. They have a lot of sections. They have a lot of innovative BMPs at UNH. And one of the head, I guess he was a grad student, one of the head guys that was working at the Stormwater Center, he was, that was where he was specializing. And he gave a seminar on pervious practices, not just pervious pavement, but pervious pavers, like the actual blocks, and actual pervious concrete. And pervious concrete we can't even do in this region because any introduction to salt will just spoil the concrete and destroy it. So that's a big issue. And the pavement, this is a guy that's supposed to be promoting this as an option, because he's the one doing it. And he still said, he's like, well, we put it down in one of the lots, one of the parking lots, and he said it's very difficult to implement, get it just right. In fact, they had like a UPS truck come in after it was set, and they squished it, and it squished the porosity right out of it. So it's like, supposed to be like this with void so that the water can go through, and his tires just squished it right down. So I mean, there's applications. Like I said, we're doing a large project down in Wyndham where we have certain parking lots that is proposed to be pervious pavement, just because we're in an area that they want to see some of that, and so we're doing it there. But it is going to be a maintenance issue.
Until somebody seals the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
That a lot,
Well,
too.
yeah, that's what Wyndham's afraid of. So we're dealing with them on that now. So
Well, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so are we set pretty much?
So vote? Are you guys good on what we're doing?
Do you want to just, does anybody need this?
To be restated, I think I'm all set. Barbara?
I'm all set. Okay, all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay.
So we'll have the recommendations tomorrow when you go.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And actually, we're
Nice job.
thrilled you've taken on this project. It has been an eyesore for a long time.
I know my partner actually took it back in bankruptcy. And he just died last year at 91, and I told him I'm gonna get it finished. It's taken 3.5 years.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Hey, folks.
Okay, next.
Nope.
That's fine.
And the minutes for approval of June 22nd. And I know you said Kimberly had some changes to those.
Yeah. Do you want me to just read them?
Yes, please.
Okay, she wanted on page 6 to correct her last name from Pierce to Peace. On page 7, the plant name should be spelled Pogonia. And right under that, the applicant stated that he ran an NHB report, not an NHP. And she couldn't remember, but on one of the pages, it says waterbed, and it should say watershed.
And I think I found one on page
All right.
2.
And
I think it's supposed to say the planting plan instead of the planning plan.
the planting plan from Dan Tatum's
Yeah.
plan. From Dan Tatum. Okay.
Okay, anything else on the minutes? Then we want to make a motion to have them approved.
The corrections?
Questions? Okay, anyone have no questions? Okay, motion? Okay,
Accept the minutes?
okay, a second on that?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay.
I have to abstain too, I wasn't here.
I'll abstain.
Do we have enough to?
Well, 3 of
We have 3
you,
of us.
would you have to?
Do we-
Yeah, you can 3.
Okay.
3 in favor, 2
Favor,
abstentions.
2 abstentions, okay. Okay, then we have the open space, the bank balance, and what we need to do is vote on the Milfoil warrant article for to be paid, I believe.
Yeah, they each submitted invoices.
So we need, for the Goffstown Waterways Association is requesting the 2014. That work was done in July. And Namaski is requesting $12,201 for the dive pulling. And this will be.
Herbicide treatment.
In the
And
herbicide.
yeah, and this is the 2,000 from the operating budget and the 10,201 from the warrant article. So someone want to make a motion to pay those bills?
Well, I guess I'll make the motion.
Seconded,
To accept.
I'll second it.
Okay.
You can't.
You
Oh, you can't?
I'll second it.
Okay, all
Okay.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Okay.
abstaining, anybody? Okay. Let's see, Kimberly she went out to the platform, the Bickford Trail.
Sorry to interrupt before you move on. It says here we need to vote to roll the United Bank CD.
Yes.
To roll the, yeah, I skipped over that. So, I was thinking we already had done that one. Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to roll the United Bank CD
Second it?
For
Those in
6
favor?
months.
for 6 months.
Okay, opposed, abstaining, okay. Then Kim reviewed the platform at the Bickford Trail, and she said it needs a repair, it's a mountain-based pond. Obviously, it probably is, because it's got to be 20 years old,
Yeah.
so, and I'm not sure who's
We have a
responsible.
Boy Scout.
It was a Boy Scout Eagle project, I do know that, but
Do you have
I
any-
don't know,
Do you have any Boy Scouts that need to do another project? Clean it up or not?
I might, I could look. Other than that, I
Boy
don't know whose
Scouts.
responsibility it is.
Well, it's the town's, if we own it.
It was, I know they turn them, when the projects are done, they turn them over to either the town, I don't think conservation took that. Mhm. Apparently, if it's in tough shape, it could be dangerous, and that's the only thing, and it's on, what, conservation, no, be town land, right? Be town land.
Is that town land or is it actually water precinct?
No.
It's on the town
It's on the
land
town,
side. Okay.
it's down near the kiosk, down, it's right, the lower part of the
Okay.
mountain. It goes out to the swamp, out to the,
I can let administration know there's a concern with the safety of
Yeah.
it, and they might want to have someone look at it.
I don't know if
and-
DPW picks that stuff up, but I have no idea.
Actually, so this is, yes, I was wondering. I
mean,
mean, you have a very small budget, but would DPW be able to fix, if it's in?
I think it's probably in, could be in really tough shape. I mean, it's got to be about 20 years old.
Wow. We'll
I
have
don't
to, you know what? who you gonna have? Somebody's gonna take a
I'm gonna
picture.
let.
She's going to ask DP to.
I'm
ask
gonna bring it to
administration.
administration, let
Just-
them know there's a concern with it, and have
And take a
them.
picture of it, so that, at least we can see what it looks like, and then we're gonna have to, either
I know it was-
part of our budget, or you'll have to see if you could get,
I don't know if it, I don't even know if it was turned back to us. I mean, I don't think it could have been given to us. I don't know how those projects go.
you think it might be the town, somebody, I mean.
Well, the town will, if we own it, it's the town
Has to
owns
be
it, so it has to go through the
taken
selectmen.
It has to go through the
Okay.
selectmen anyways, or through that.
All right.
And if it's in,
And if it's something that they feel like should come from the conservation's budget, I'll bring it back
Right.
to you at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right,
it
next
may
meeting.
be in, really, we probably should take a walk out
Mm-hmm.
there. Okay, intent to cut permits, Vincent Urban, map 23, lot 11 and 13 on Channel Ave. Intent to cut for Langley, Tatro Drive, Mass Road, map 5, lot 56. Is that right in the back of the,
That's what I was wondering, where is that one?
That's for them to do their projects that you just saw them come in, the
Right.
self-storage unit.
The
and-
additional,
okay.
New
Letters,
storage units?
yeah, the new
And
storage.
your storage unit, part of it, yes.
It's been approved already?
It was been approved.
I was gonna say, is there anything to cut back there?
No,
I
no,
don't-
it's- There's a few trees, not much.
Can't be
Okay.
much. Letter from Dick Ludman, Chairman of the PLC, Piscataqua River Local and Advisory Committee, thanking the commission for support in trying to retain map 34 lot 124-1 along Mill Street as a recreational access to the river.
What happened?
did that happen? What happened with it?
Yeah,
They
we
retained
voted- We voted on it.
Oh, good, the selectmen did support.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Thank you.
So that was a
I
letter
don't know what's
thanking
gonna
the
happen with it yet,
board.
they're gonna figure it out later on, but,
Excellent.
That's great,
I guess we made the recommendation to the selectmen and
that's great.
that is
That's
great.
very nice of the PLC to do that, too.
That's great.
We
Okay,
should thank the selectmen too.
Yes.
yeah, I think,
I'll pass the
You
word
tell me
on, I'll
pass
pass
the-
the word
Oh,
on.
yeah, no, we should, yeah.
or
will.
well, we might want a formal thank you.
I could put in the report.
Okay.
That'd be
Just
great.
put it in the
CC
report, but I
thanks.
think it's nice to thank them.
We trust
Board
you,
of Selectmen.
but we want it to be real formal.
Thank you.
No, I think it's important that.
Yeah, it
we-
is very important,
Yeah,
and that
keep things like
particularly
that.
is a really, it's very important. yeah.
New Hampshire DES alteration of terrain permit, map 4, lot 87-6, Woodland Village condominium project. Supply line with the source newsletter, those are another, just letters, I guess.
Yeah, they're like newsletters and magazines.
Newsletters, okay.
So
next
now we got
page.
plan reviews.
We have plan reviews. Map 38, lot 13, map 34, lot 96 and 99, as permitted under state statute, RSA 674-54, to consider the development proposal of the town of Goffstown Fire Department, 18 Church Street, to construct a 6,850 square foot addition along with renovation of the current fire station building as well as on-site improvements, and to merge map 34, lot 96 and 99 into map 38, lot 13, increasing the size of the fire station property zoned village commercial district.
So what I mailed you, you got a little more detail, because I had that sent to me electronically. But the overall plan has been revised today. And actually DPW is doing their site plan for them, showing you the proposed
I think the big-
addition.
I think the biggest thing to me is that there's no wetlands on that
Just the brook.
site, and so it's really not a concern of conservation, it's just,
I don't think there's a brook.
There's
It's
a
just-
brook, isn't there? or-
No, I don't
Isn't
think
it
so.
off-
No, it's way off there, that's
That's-
off-site.
Closer to
That's
the church.
offsite,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that
So
really
there's
is just
No
a-
issue, no
No,
concerns?
and they've
snow-
already merged their lots together.
So
We did
have-
that.
We have,
That was one of the issues we had at the meeting the other night, we wanted to make sure they merged them all together in one lot, because we had three or four lots were all kind of separated, we didn't,
put them
put
together.
it all
Lot.
together.
Okay,
So no issues or
No.
concerns?
I don't think
No,
that
I
there's
don't think
anything
so.
for our.
Do we need to vote?
Yep, she made the motion,
Somebody
Amy
want to second
seconded.
that?
I did.
No, I
Second
did.
it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Okay, now you're
All those in
second.
favor? Those
Aye.
opposed?
Okay. Is this it too?
This is the
No issue.
next one, St.
The
Anne's.
next one is map 3, lot 41 and 41-1. Completeness review of final
need to
site plan review, hearing for proposed
Oh, sorry, because I'm gonna be putting it back
20,030
up.
square feet addition to the student center building located at St. Anselm's College, along with the renovation to the college site, and also to allow for 4 temporary trailers to be used during construction. The property owned is by St. Anselm College, 100 St. Anselm Drive, zone residential -2.
So is this the area that they're digging up right now in
You can
front of
see
this
it.
college?
No, that's a sign.
Oh, this is.
So this is an addendum to, underneath you is like the full, and you'll see that this is like 103A, and there's like 104.
Most of this
They
is
added,
inside.
most of it, yes, is within. What you're seeing on the outside is they're redesigning like the entrance. It's gonna actually be very, very pretty. With, they're doing this brick signs on each side
Okay.
with cement where it says St. A's. There'll be a little bit of a lit sign, but it looks really,
It looks like it's gonna be really nice. Well,
that's what they're doing.
it's a very attractive.
It is beautiful.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
buildings that you can, they've actually been doing a really nice job with their dormitories and all, and the landscaping, and it's
So,
quite nice. So, okay.
I don't think there's any wetlands there.
No, and they're working, they have some on-site drainage stuff they're doing. They're doing a lot with like, I was telling them earlier, like, doing a lot of pathways and
That's what
stuff.
you were saying.
Okay, what I need to do is see, where is it located? And what,
Over there.
so
We need a
actually,
last one we looked
is this supposed to be at the corner?
This is mainly
Center range.
interior.
Okay.
They're doing a lot of interior, and they're adding additions to the student center, but they're also doing like some other stuff on site. So if you go, kind of like shows you on the top,
Oh, on the top one.
kind of like shows you like they're doing all these interconnection.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just having trouble figuring out where this location is.
This is like,
This is the entrance right here to this, right now? No? I don't really
so
understand.
this is, they're adding this.
Go back to the next
They're
page.
just making,
And the next plan in, they go to the first page in, I think you'll see it. Got a circle around the area of proposed development. See it right
Yeah, there's
there?
the overall.
so are they adding like parking? Is that what
I'm
they're doing?
seeing. Oh, to go here, okay. Okay, now I know where it is, okay.
Right in here?
It's back, there's college roads coming in, they're gonna, that entrance coming right straight across, so it's back in.
And they are altering the entrance, a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, so this is the only area of concern? Mm-hmm. Oh, so they're in there.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I don't think there's anything right there.
See where we have any, I don't see any issues.
It's mostly interior, is it, Patty?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the accesses are being altered a little bit, but it's just slightly moved, and the police weren't concerned with it, I know that. And, this lot's evolved and this lot, so they might be doing some stuff on that lot, like they're doing a lot, like a little bit of drainage, like I said, and some paths. It's all like interior. I don't know if
But-
it shows you near end, it's this one.
I don't think any of this is any concerns for conservation.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's the
not
proposed
gonna go
student
far.
center, addition renovation, you know,
The only gonna upgrade is what they're gonna do.
show like the drainage that they have.
Do anyone see any issues with concern?
No, I don't. I think I think one time they put in a detention pond without,
That was way back.
way back. I don't think they're, obviously, this has nothing to do like that, and it
No.
looks fine.
Megan's looking at any alteration of drainage that they're doing. She's reviewing all that.
So I would just say, we have no concerns.
Okay, and you want, somebody want to second that? Chuck seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? And
This is all the same thing, isn't it?
is, So you want to give it to me? I'll take it from you if you want.
Okay. Lot,
Yeah, just put it on top. I'm gonna be leaving these for the planning board meeting
oh, I
tomorrow.
put some before over there too.
That's okay.
Let's see.
I told them that. I'll leave them right on the desk for 'em.
Oh dear, you want it all back here?
No, I'll
No.
do it after.
That's fine. Map 20, lot 16, completeness review site. plan for hearing for a proposal to convert the 1,404 square foot existing garage barn into an auto repair shop. The property currently has a real estate office, Century 21, along with a single-family home on the lot, making this a mixed-use property. JEM 443 Mass LLC, application and owner, 443 Mass Road and Route 114A, map 20, lot 16. Zone residential small business office -2, RSBO-2. Outdoor lift will be added to site plan after ZBA approved.
Was added.
Okay. That-
So, I guess I have a question. I don't know what that means. I mean,
I
understand-
added that to you to let you know why, because it was kind of like we quickly looked at it once.
Does
But
that mean I ignore the ZBA, or this trumps the ZBA? or
he
ZBA
added,
has to start again?
when
or
they're sending it back to
what?
ZBA.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
That's what I
because what they saw, it was all enclosed in the barn, and that's why I sent you copies of the pictures too, so you knew what was an issue. That's the main issue, I would say, before the planning board, is that there was a concrete pad with a lift on the outside.
So this concrete pad and this lift was added after ZBA saw the plan?
So
That's
they're,
their problem, not ours.
so we'll go back, because
Right.
planning says they want them to go back to get their variance reapproved.
Oh, we do have.
I assume we-
So I didn't know if you had any concerns with an outdoor lift, is why I was making,
Yeah.
Is it hydraulically operated?
I don't know.
Electric, I believe. Electric with a screw style lift on it.
I know nothing about an outdoor lift.
Well, they won't have anything to catch any leaks, spills, or releases of oil. There's nothing but a flat concrete pad. I have a concern with that. This is near the water, right?
No, there's nothing around here.
This here, this Scottico Road?
No. He's on the corner 114 and Mass Road, that real estate office.
That little real estate office, I think there's like a little gazebo or something. in
Oh,
there.
after Henry Bridge. Yeah.
It's gonna look awful.
I think the barn looks good.
The barn does look good.
That's in the back, too. This is in the back.
Oh, this isn't, okay.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you can see any of that.
What was this before, like Keller
Wow.
Williams or something?
That looks like a car lift.
Yeah,
It is a
so-
Yeah, it's a
car
car
lift,
lift.
that's what it's gonna
Yeah,
be.
they're gonna drive on it and then they'll lift it up so they can
It's
work
gonna be an auto
underneath.
repair shop.
Well,
He
either
indicates
way-
for his personal use, but because it is an auto repair shop, you gotta look at it as it probably will be used for other vehicles as well.
I'm shocked that we allow that.
Well, we didn't allow it.
They just did it.
Oh.
Because even if it's not near water, I mean, that still can contaminate groundwater. I mean,
Isn't that, before we spend any time on this, isn't there a completely different process to even get it approved? I mean, why,
Happened after.
well, I mean, tell them to close it down. I mean, I don't know. They just went in and built this thing, and all these questions are coming up now about
Groundwater.
safety and groundwater and all this stuff.
Well, I'm sending it to you because you're part of technical review, and when it came in for site plan review, they found it during site plan review, and it wasn't presented to the ZBA when they got the variance for their use, which indicated everything would be enclosed. So it's going back. I don't know if planning board will allow this or not, but I'm bringing it to you to make your comments to the planning board. If you
Well,
have
if they,
concerns,
I
you
think if
should
they
state
allow
that.
it, then I think we have a lot of questions. If they don't allow it, I'm not sure I want to waste any time on it right now, because it's their problem, they created it, and I don't,
No, the applicant did it without approvals.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, it seems backwards. If,
Yeah.
like, why are we
If they
spending
get it
time on it if
approved,
they're,
I'd be happy to
right.
spend some time with it.
So-
Well, because you always comment on plans to the planning board that's
So
before them, so
Not illegal
It may
plans.
get approved though if we don't comment, right? ZBA could
yeah,
approve it.
they could get the variance in the planning board. I'm just, this is before you now, just, you
So
have
they don't get
concerns.
approved, so whatever.
If you have concerns with the outdoor lift, you should state that now.
No,
Yes.
absolutely.
Is this a permitted use?
No, well, it's small business. Shouldn't be.
He got the, either was it, what was it, a special exception or?
That was for the garage.
He
not
got his
for an outdoor
approval
lift.
for the use,
For the use of a
Well,
small
For
business,
the garage, not the lift.
garage and barn.
which comes, you know, they have a lift as part of it. I don't know, I've never seen one outside.
Into a, he's converting them into a auto body.
He's got the approval to do that. It was, how it was presented was it was all done within the barn part.
Well, then we have a problem with it being
And what I'm asking,
outside,
if you have a concern with
We have
that
a
lift being
concern.
outside, you should state it probably now.
Because we won't get a chance
Amy, I have a
later.
question. What difference does it make if it's enclosed? Can't that still get into the groundwater?
Well,
Like,
if
If
there's
they just
like,
build a,
No, I don't think she means,
No, she
Yeah, but the
means like
same
a
question
floor.
she asked about the outside one are true for the inside part too, I think.
yeah, I mean, if you just build a structure around it, how is that gonna change that it's on a
I don't know
cement
if she's really
pad?
talking about a structure, is just it's something that would contain a spill, and maybe that would even be just,
right,
No,
I mean,
I
like,
get that, but the question is, do you have a concern about the outdoor lift?
Right.
Yes.
Or
The fact that
anything
it's
in general
outdoors.
about it.
But the question about the spillage isn't gonna change if it's got something built around it.
well, if it's indoors, you're
Enclosed.
saying, enclosed? If it's enclosed, there's not gonna be rainwater that can wash it away.
Oh,
If it's
okay, okay.
indoors,
So
I
that-
mean,
that's the
typical
piece- okay,
garages,
got
you
it.
know, they throw
Okay.
down litter or absorbent material.
I have no
Okay.
idea if this is a typical garage.
Right, so, I mean, the fact that it's outdoors, yes, I think we should definitely put on record that regardless of wetlands or whatnot, you can't just have a commercial operation. This isn't someone changing their oil once a month of their personal vehicle. If it's gonna be an operation of a business,
Allegedly, it's simply to do maintenance on a single snowplow truck owned by the owner,
Is it?
allegedly.
okay.
I mean, that's what, right, that's what the.
That's what he said, but you gotta look at it as, if he has an an auto repair shop, it
It's a
could be,
repair shop.
you gotta,
Proposed one-bay auto repair
His
business
shop.
in the existing garage with associated parking. Number of new employees, too. Operations, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So proposed, it definitely states it's going to be a business
Yeah.
with employees and 8 to 5 hours.
I think it's time we state our concern about this being,
and if you have any other concerns about anything to do with the site plan, it's just as part of technical review,
Because-
you review
Although the
just
note
as everyone
15,
else.
it states outside lift is not to be used for commercial business use, but solely for the personal use of the property owner. Only one vehicle at a time will be allowed in the garage barn.
at a time.
That's, I don't know, it's odd.
That note came after, when it first came to planning, the lift was not on it, and a butter brought to the attention of what was
Uh-huh.
outside. So they revised it and put the outdoor lift in the note on the plan. Planning board looked at it, and they said this needs to go back to the ZBA for another variance, and that's where he's at right now.
I
And they're
think-
gonna look at it in September, the planning board
I
will.
think it is time to state concerns.
I just say, it's what we just said, yeah, there's no
Concerns of-
containment, it's a flat concrete pad, there's no containment at all of leaks, oil
lip
spills.
or anything that's.
There's no spill prevention, pollution control.
Well, I
No,
would
he
say,
said again, no spill.
just because part of it's inside, I don't think it's any better in there, other than, I mean, maybe it won't get rained on. but-
No, wait a minute, no spill prevention,
No
control?
containment, no containment at all of leaks of fluids, oils, antifreeze.
okay, is that your motion, that you have concerns with outdoor
And indoor,
Pass it.
I wouldn't limit it to outdoor,
Sure.
Concerns
and indoor?
in indoor.
yeah. Outdoor, you can see them once in a while.
I would think that, I don't know, but I would imagine that regular garages that maintain cars and stuff like that, they
Indoors,
have to
right?
have,
I have no idea if
you
this
can
is a
help us.
regular garage.
If you're doing an indoors.
It's
a lot
automotive
different than
repair,
outdoor.
so he can do auto body, he can
Well,
do
obviously, we're gonna
repair
be on a cement
work.
floor inside, it's easy to clean up a cement floor.
I was just
obviously.
gonna
And
say.
If they've got this on a cement pad, I don't know, if he's on the cement pad, he's gonna, it may be pitched to the middle of the pad. He may very well have a drain, or maybe have a catch drain with a gas and oil catch drain for like a,
And we don't know.
but we
I
don't
don't see,
know.
I don't see one on it, so I
So
don't know.
that's, all right, that's.
That's a good question to
concern.
put down for the indoor as well.
Yeah.
Is for,
They don't
no,
allow indoor drains at all in any of the garages
Right,
anymore.
exactly. So,
No, it's all just the straight concrete.
This is existing garage.
So they just use the material to throw down and
Right, you clean up
collect
with,
it?
yeah, clean up with speedy drying, floor sweeping, compounds.
So that is your concerns with the outdoor and the indoor with,
Cleanup of waste materials coming out of a car.
Spill
Whether
prevention,
it's
control, and
prevention control.
containment.
There you go.
This doesn't kind of make sense, because it says one, and then it says only one at a time, and it says just for the.
Oh, you see conflicting information?
I don't think they only can get one inside the garage at a time. I don't know if the bay is big enough for only one at a time.
No, it
anyway.
says only one vehicle will be allowed in the garage/barn. That has nothing to do with the lift.
The lift.
The lift
No,
is
no, yeah,
separate.
right.
Yeah, at a time, right?
The lift is,
this almost got denied.
Yeah, okay, so we have,
All right, so that's, all right, so that's
Strange.
motion second.
Yes.
Okay.
all those in favor?
I,
Opposed?
No, you made it. Oh, okay, yeah, you have to say aye too.
Abstaining? Okay. it's passed.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And then the last one,
The last one is
I-
no new plans submitted?
well, he didn't, he's asking for a time extension. He doesn't have revised plans. I have the one here. I didn't like copy all of it. You've seen it a couple times. It's the same. It's the one off of Bog Road, Mountain Road, the,
76 townhouses.
yeah, and he did come in January and gave you a presentation of the alteration terrain, and Collis was here,
And it was better than what they had.
It was better, and that was your comment, it was a better, it was less of an impact. So he's gotten his alteration of terrain now, but he's coming into planning to ask for just a time extension. He hasn't submitted revised plans or anything like that.
Well, so that has nothing to do with us either then.
No.
And I just passed on the comment I had already given was you had already looked at it. So it would be a comment to granting a time extension. Do you have any issues with him granting the time extension?
No. We don't have to vote on it?
It would be a formal recommendation.
Okay,
really.
let's see, issues of, do we have any issues with the time extension?
No?
No? All those in,
I mean, I'm sure that,
Excuse
the planning board probably has, specific,
That'd be planning, I think, right?
yeah, right.
do we
So
have,
it's not, I don't think it's us, it's just, it would.
I mean, it depends on them if they reach a point. This was approved in 2009.
He's already had a couple extensions, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they feel about
They've
it.
changed the whole plan, though, haven't they? They've changed the plan. I mean, not changed that whole thing per se, but they've
He
changed
changed
it
the alteration of
outside
terrain.
alteration, yeah. So we should,
for the better, I'm thinking.
any issues of concern about,
So they've changed it and it's already, and.
we saw it
looked
about
at-
January sometime.
Right, so, and there's no changes since then, but he's asking for an
Extension of time.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem.
It's okay, all those in favor?
no issues. Okay.
Extension of time,
I,
opposed? Okay, I believe that is the end, unless we have something else.
I just have a quick question. Patty, the Namaske Lake thing is 12,201 that we approved, but the email in the correspondence here says 16,680, so I don't understand.
What, the one that he's asking for?
Yeah, and close are two
'cause-
invoices which total 16,680.
Yeah, because they have offsetting money that goes towards a grant money too, that they have to come up with. But that's the amount that was formally voted on at the previous meeting before, was to break down the remainder of what you can give. And that, they knew that the 2014 is what is all Goffstown Waterways Association was gonna
They weren't
need for
taking
the
much of it.
pooling, because they weren't doing anything else. And they said the remainder they would give to, the Namaski, and that's the remainder, the 12,201. So it's not exactly, but they have their own money they have to come up with too to offset the grants. They're getting more probably than they were
They got
gonna
more
get.
this time, but we said that if next year, if it comes about that the
But yes.
waterways needs more, we will shift more money towards the other.
Okay, I just couldn't make it add up, that's all. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't, because like they'll have to put in some money
got it.
too.
Okay.
Any other issues, concerns? Okay,
Oh, next meeting.
next meet,
Do you want to meet this month or do you want to go to September? So far, I have nothing to give you guys.
Nothing for the rest of this month?
Yeah, it would be 2 weeks from now, if you
I
want.
don't know, September 7th.
We'll go to
So
September.
September 28th will be your next meeting?
September sounds good.
28th?
Yeah.
Until the first snow.
First snow?
Capital could be most anytime.
And planning's not meeting this month either, so it's not like they're gonna have anything.
95 tomorrow?
Yes.
Then put it in heat wave.
I heard
September.
Planning is definitely not,
They're meeting tomorrow, but they won't
they
be,
canceled.
yeah, they never meet the second, in August. Yeah.
Okay,
Turn it-
somebody want to make a motion to
I
adjourn?
have one other
yes.
just administrative question. This time, I know it's unusual because there was a lot that got mailed out, but it costs like $7 to mail this to everyone.
So we could pick it up?
Yeah, I mean, if you just send me an email saying, hey, the docs are here, can you pick it up? I mean, I think that would be, save, pennies.
Yeah, it's up to you guys if you wanna come get them.
Some of us could,
Some people,
of
it's
us.
easier for them to get mailed,
That's fine.
and it's,
But I mean,
you
if
have a
every
budget with
committee did
postage.
it for, I mean, it must add up to,
Yeah, it's because you get a lot.
$50 a pop.
reasonable amount of money, and all the committees do the same thing. That's a lot of money.
I mean, there's a few of you that we probably have to do.
Yeah, some of you will need them mailed because they won't be able to get here. We close at 4.
I'm downtown all the time, I'm wondering about others.
So you guys can pick them up.
Well, we don't want to make it harder for you to keep track of, oh, this one I have to mail, this one I have to pick up. I mean, that might get like.
What we could do is she could send an email out, and if people didn't pick it up within like 2 days, you
I'll throw it in the
and then she
mail.
put them in the mail. Do something
Yeah.
like that.
They get more than 2 days.
3 days?
You, well, Kim only got one set mailed to her. 'Cause she's on planning, so it's the same plans that planning get. They got the same thing.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's fine.
That's
So you would
fine.
leave them in a box, or I would go to your
Do it
office?
in the
You go to
office.
my office, because you don't have, well, I could put them down
But
there.
if it's hard for you, just.
No, I can, it's
Yeah.
fine, that works.
I was thinking
Well,
that
if
this
it's
time.
nothing that's, like, if it's like this, but if it's small, I would think you just want me to throw it in the mail. Like
Yeah,
when
these
it's-
were big, these were a lot.
Like if it's like a, like $1 to mail.
Yeah, that's one thing.
So you don't want any of these back, the small ones, right?
You can give them back to me. The big plans I'm gonna lay back out on the table. We should.
Well, leave 'em right here.
Okay, we still need the motion to
I
adjourn.
think that's a good idea. If it's a big packet,
We pick it up,
right, we pick it up.
If
If
it's
it's a small something,
should throw it in the mail.
yeah, right.
USPS.
Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? Okay, thanks.
Non-debatable.
Still ready for the-